So we are live, guys. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the predictions for obviously the Champions League quarterfinals. It's been a long hiatus, but we are back finally. So, guys, let's get into this video. Obviously, the Champions League has been very, very difficult this season, and sometimes we don't know who's the favorite in the Champions League because some of them are playing very well, some teams are not playing that well, some teams are struggling. For instance, we've seen Chelsea this season; they struggled tremendously and haven't been able to do anything this season. That's the problem with Chelsea. Other teams who we can see, teams like Benfica have been really exceptional this season. Of course, teams like Napoli as well, one of the favorites to win the Champions League if we go to see this season. So obviously, it's tough to point out a clear favorite this season. There've been quite a few, but if you go to see, both the teams can still win the Champions League. It's not dead for any team. Every team for me has a chance right now. Every team. So we got to back every team now in this Champions League especially. क्योंकि कुछ भी हो सकता है. ये UCL है. या कोई हलवा नहीं है कि सब टीम even the best team sometimes they lose out on the Champions League क्योंकि it's not that easy at the end of the day. You got to win the Champions League. Okay, it's a very, very big trophy. Why do you think teams like Man City they spend so much money, but they still end up losing the Champions League? They still end up getting knocked out early in the round. So why is that happening? It happens all because of one thing, and the thing is that money cannot buy you success. It's not always the case, especially in football. Football, you need IQ, you need the right manager at the right time, the right players at the at your club at the right time. That's very, very important if you go to see in football, especially. Let me take some of your comments. King Mom has commented Bayern. Bayern, yeah, looking strong. Obviously, I'll get into the predictions soon. And I got all my scores ready. We've done a little bit. I've worked a little bit on the layouts of everything, so you will have a better experience now, especially with the predictions. So, so let's see what's happening in this edition of the Champions League. Of course, very, very interesting to see what's going to happen today in the Champions League. So obviously the Champions League, I think the first fixture will be on Wednesday at 12:30 India time, Indian Standard Time. So let's see what my prediction is. So let's do each game one by one. So let me share my screen with you guys. So basically the first match which I want to do is obviously one of the biggest matches in terms of the second side, meaning there are two sides of the draw, right? So on the other side, we have teams like the tough. One side of the draw is very tough with teams like Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern, and obviously Man City. And then the other side, we have teams like Benfica, Inter Milan, AC Milan, and Napoli. So let's go on to the left-hand side of the draw first, which is obviously the Napoli side of the draw. Napoli, AC Milan, Benfica, the latter which I mentioned. Let's go over there and let's see what it's looking like. So obviously the first game which I would like to give my score prediction on is the AC Milan Napoli game. So if you go to see this season, AC Milan have had a very topsy turvy season. They've not been at all consistent. AC Milan have basically not had the best season. They're not endured any kind of success. It's all been trouble and trouble and trouble and trouble for AC Milan. This season especially. It's not been a very good season for them. Last season obviously they had won the Serie A, the Scudetto, and they'd obviously not had the best Champions League campaign. They'd been knocked out in the group stage and knocked out in the Europa League later on. But they should have really performed better. And this season they've been it's been a problem because obviously they've had a lot of injuries. Zlatan has been injured, Giroud has been injured, other players also have been injured. So it's been tough for them. But on the contrary, the last time Napoli and AC Milan played each other in Serie A, although Napoli fielded a much weaker team, AC Milan did beat them 4-0. So we got to take that into account. AC Milan are playing at home in the first leg. So let's get to my score prediction. So the prediction which I've gone with is AC Milan will beat Napoli. Sorry, AC Milan will lose to Napoli 3-0. And that's my prediction. I predict Napoli to pick up the win. I obviously predict one of Kvaratskhelia or Osimhen to score easily. And I feel, although AC Milan are playing at home and at the San Siro, it's very unlikely that they'll win this game. AC Milan has sucked. Basically, yes, this season hasn't been the best for AC Milan. If you go to see, they've not had a very clear, fun season. It's not been, that's one of those seasons in which AC Milan can raise their hands up and say we had a very good season. It's been very topsy turvy, as I've said, and that's the problem with AC Milan this season. So yeah, that's what I was saying, and of course, now I feel Napoli, they should make it at least into the semis. At least that would be okay for them. They really should be reaching the finals with this team. The way they've been, the way they've beaten teams like Liverpool. And if you want to see that video with Samir and Napoli, the link is obvious. I don't have the link in the description, but you can go check it on my channel. It's a very good video, very informative. You can get to know about all the tactics of Napoli, the scores, the troubles they've had to go through. Especially if you want to watch it in Hindi, it's available for you. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say about Napoli. So I'm obviously going with Napoli to win this game. So that's my prediction in the first game. So let me unshare my screen and let's go to the next game. So the next game, which is in the Champions League, is of course Benfica versus Inter Milan. And in that game, I assume Benfica is playing at home. Benfica have been great this season. Obviously, they were in PSG's group and they topped the group. But we got to think how much is that down to PSG being a bad team, because PSG have not been knocked out obviously to a good Bayern Munich team, but still Bayern Munich have sacked their manager now and Tuchel is in charge. So maybe something was wrong, and even though something was wrong at Bayern Munich, they still beat PSG. So there's a really a big problem if you go to see with regard to that. So obviously, if we want to speak about this game, Benfica, have lost one of their key players, Enzo Fernandez. He's gone to Chelsea, as we all know, but still, they've still been looking good this season. If you go to see, relatively good. Not, they're not been, any bad results. If you go to see for them, they've been looking quite decent. I'd say quite decent, not very bad. But Inter Milan, if you go to see, on the contrary, have had a very bad season. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna take anything from you guys. But Inter Milan have had a very bad season. If you go to see by their standards, they should be competing for the Serie A. They are not. They should be doing better in the Champions League. They just scraped through Porto. If you go to see, luckily because of a good Lukaku performance. And in the first leg, Benfica are playing at home. So obviously, let's get to my prediction. Since Benfica are playing at home, okay, take my thing. Okay, Inter Milan have not been looking good. The only bright thing about Inter Milan is the attack is good. The defense has been atrocious this season. So if you go to see, I'm obviously going to go with a, let me share my screen, Benfica victory. I'm going with the Benfica victory. Yes, it will be tough. It will be quite surreal for many of y'all because Benfica have looked quite good this season. Benfica have played well. Obviously, they've had very good players in their team, and if you go to see, they have not been reliant on Enzo Fernandez. So even though Enzo Fernandez has left, they've still been looking quite strong and good this season. So I'm going with the Benfica victory in the first leg though. So let's see, maybe in the second leg Inter could pick up something, but I'm getting that gut feel that Benfica will win this game. So that's my prediction for the second game. And now let's get to the third game. This is one of the biggest games, obviously in the quarterfinals, and that's Man City. Okay, Man freaking City. Not any small team. It's Man City versus Bayern Munich. So obviously this match is probably the match of the whole quarterfinals draw, because you have two exceptional coaches on both sides. You have Pep Guardiola, the guy who wants to win the Champions League with another club except for Barcelona, and without Lionel Messi basically. And on the contrary, you got one of the guys, one of the best coaches in the world, who, whenever he takes over a team, he wins the Champions League. Okay, he's just taken over one team, which is obviously Chelsea, but he's done miracles with them. So if you go to see, this game has been tough to predict because obviously the first leg is in none other than the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. So they obviously Bayern Munich are playing away, but and the Bayern Munich have had a tough season. If you go to see, obviously Nagelsmann has been relieved of his duties and been sacked, and that's obviously cost them a lot. But if you go to see, how much is that down to Pep Guardiola's fault? Because Pep has made mistakes this season. He's not had the best of seasons, not the easiest of seasons. It's been quite tough for him at times, but still, Pep Guardiola has been quite good. for them. So let's see what they do. And obviously, this game will be tough to predict. Obviously, with people like Haaland and all scoring goals and Pep Guardiola taking them off, it's very very tough to predict who's going to win this game. Um, so if you go to see the key players, obviously for Bayern Munich, it will be probably Joshua Kimmich because he's been very very good this season. They won't have Neuer in goal. Obviously, there will be another player known as Jan Sommer in goal. And for Man City, obviously, if you don't back Erling Haaland, who you're going to back? Because he's been the key player for them this season. And Erling Haaland, if it's not him, then who else will it be? Man City want to win this tie, it's all on Erling Haaland. So obviously, let's go with my prediction. As King Mom says that Man City. Okay, interesting. Um, but this game has been one of the toughest to predict. I think this is the toughest game to predict because it can go anyway. You can go with Bayern to win. You can go with anybody else to win. As Weldon Burrito says, stream. It's a very odd comment. But if you go to see this game is tough. So obviously, since Man City are playing at home, you got to favor them. But since I want to get a good prediction and I want my prediction to be right, let's see my prediction. So as I say on my screen, you can see the prediction, and it is that it will be a draw. It will be Man City 2, Bayern Munich 2, and we have to see who wins in the second leg. I think Bayern Munich will get a good result with Tuchel, especially. Tuchel always has Pep's number for some reason. He always beats him in the European competitions. I think Tuchel has been unbeaten against Pep. He's obviously won with Chelsea in the Champions League final against Man City, and even when he was at Chelsea, he did beat Pep a couple of times. So if you go to see, I'm gonna back Man City to draw. Obviously, it's a good result for Man City as well because with all due respect, if Bayern get a good result away from home, then it's all over for Man City. I don't see them coming back at the Allianz Arena in Germany. So so that's done, and yeah, this is the third prediction. Obviously, this is the last prediction, which is Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Chelsea have been a very, very interesting club. If you go to see, there's been a cool stat popping up that N'Golo Kante has played 4 matches for Chelsea this season, and all 4 matches under different managers. He's played his first match against Tottenham Hotspurs for Thomas Tuchel. He's played his second match, I don't know against which team, but he has played it for Graham Potter recently. His third match was against Bruno, the caretaker manager, and his fifth match was under Lampard. So he's basically played under four managers, and Lampard will be the manager walking into Chelsea for this game. So it's going to be very very interesting to see what Super Frank does. Obviously, the last time he was the manager of Chelsea in a knockout competition, they lost to Bayern Munich, and that was a very bad result because they lost 7-1. 7-1. Obviously, that was a very good Bayern Munich team with players such as Lewandowski, etc. But you got to give credit to Real Madrid because although Real Madrid, in the weekend they've struggled, they've lost their last game against obviously a very very good Villarreal team, and Chukwueze obviously was a key player in that game. But let's see what happens in this game. Obviously, both teams are coming off a loss, which is obviously not good, and so obviously, if I'm going with the prediction. The game is in the Bernabeu, obviously, which is none other than Real Madrid Stadium, as Mr. Dwayne Rodriguez says. He, nice to see you. So, anyways, as I was saying, Real Madrid are basically playing at home. So, when you're playing at home, you obviously have an advantage. If you watch the Indian Premier League, we can see that home teams have an advantage. So, obviously, there's something. Obviously, the fans play a key role in that. And hence, let's go to my prediction. So, my prediction is gonna be Real Madrid will win this game 3-1, according to me. I feel probably we'll see Benzema or Vinicius scoring, which is obviously a good thing and not a bad thing. Um, and yeah, that's gonna be my prediction for this game. So that's very very interesting on my hands. Like obviously Real Madrid are a good team, but it's been very very unpredictable in all every competition till now, so we can't say who's going to win. But I think if I have to put my money on a team, I'm putting it on Real Madrid because I don't back Chelsea to win this game. They've been struggling very badly this season. Struggling means struggling, and when you struggle in any competition, it's very tough to back Chelsea, especially with the whole drama going on with Todd Bowley, etc. It's been stupid, but still, let's see what happens. And guys, that's all I wanted to predict. Those are all my predictions. Now, if you want to comment anything, you can comment in the comment section. I'll take your comments and we can see maybe like which team y'all are backing. So, which team do you think will be the team to watch out for, and which player do you think it will be to watch out for? And let me know in the comment section. So, you can take your comments one by one, and then we can probably end the stream in another, let's say, an hour or something. So, let's see what you guys have to comment in the comment section. As King Mom gives a comment over here. What's this comment? One second. King Mom says that the key player to watch out for will be Erling Haaland, and the team to watch out for will be Man City. See, City obviously have a tough draw, but Erling Haaland is a beast. We've seen him this season. He's done literally, he's had his best season till now ever as a player, and he's been very consistent with all his performances. If you go to see, Erling Haaland has been very, very good this season. Obviously, Man City, it'll be tough for them to beat Bayern Munich. If they can get through Bayern Munich, then probably they can get to Real Madrid as well. And I would back them certainly, because if you have such a good team and such good players, then obviously you got to win. You got to win. You can't lose. You can't lose basically. How can you lose? You have such a good team. You shouldn't be losing, with all due respect. And that's the main thing I wanted to say, because you can't lose. You can't lose basically. So obviously it's a good shout from you. If I go to see, for me, the the key player in the whole tie, I think I got to go with a very, very obvious pick. I'm going with Kvaratskhelia, basically Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, who plays for none other than Napoli. For me, he's going to be the key player. And the key team to watch out for, obviously, it has to be Napoli. They have such a good draw against AC Milan. Yes, AC Milan did beat them. I'll say it again. Of course, they did beat them. But you got to see on the, you always got to look beyond things. And you got to see that Napoli have been exceptional this season. They've not lost a lot of games, as I've said. Anybody wants to see the results, I'll just show you all the results again, who I predicted. We can go back to square one. So let's go back. So basically, the first game, which is obviously AC Milan versus Napoli, I'm going with the 3-0 win for Napoli. Okay. Anybody wants to give their score predictions, you can let me know in the comment section down below, and maybe then we can have a debate. But I'm going to go with Napoli, because Napoli this season, I made a video on it already. If you want to go, you can watch it. I posted it earlier today. But Napoli this season have been crazy. Okay, they've already reached the quarterfinals, which has been their best result till now. And it's going to be very tough to beat them. Any team which beats Napoli will probably reach the finals, because this side of the draw is so easy. It's not that hard. Only like the only good teams you can see in this, this side of the draw is Napoli, because the other three teams have been topsy turvy. They've not been that consistent this season. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this game. As I've said it again and again and again. So for me, obviously Napoli is key. And Osimhen is also a good shout if I go to see Osimhen from Napoli. And so I'm going with Napoli, and I'm going with obviously one of the key players, which is Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. So guys, whoever's watching the live stream, please hit the like button, so we can get this content out to more people, and maybe more people can join the stream, because I'm not ending it anytime soon. Hit the like button. I'll post it up all for you guys. Hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, of course, to consider subscribing, because we've got a lot of videos coming up for you all, a lot of shots, a lot of live streams as well. Obviously, we'll be going live for the Man City versus Bayern Munich game, and also for the other game, which is Chelsea versus Real Madrid. The two big games, we'll be going live for that. Obviously, the other games will be in the background, so we'll obviously have few panelists, with us as well, in with us, so they can also give their predictions for these games as well. So let's see what happens in this incredible tie. Anything is possible, as I said. So let me show you the next prediction. So if the next prediction which I predicted was that Benfica would beat Inter Milan 2-1. Obviously, Benfica playing at home, and when you play at home, you have an unprecedented advantage. And Benfica, with great players this season, they've done well. Obviously, they've had exceptional players who've been performing well. Inter Milan, yes, they did win their last game, but how much was that down to Lukaku, performing well? Obviously, Lukaku has been doing well recently. He has obviously scored a few goals in the Nations League also for Belgium in the qualifiers, I guess. and he's been doing well on an international standpoint. And obviously, it's the Kaku, but still, since Benfica are playing at home, you gotta back them, as I said. You gotta back Benfica. So that's the second tie which I predicted. Obviously, the third tie which I predicted was Man City will draw 2-2 with Bayern Munich. It's quite obvious. Obviously, Man City have been doing well recently, and if you go to see भाई Man City बहुत अच्छा खेल रहा है, and Bayern Munich have also been playing quite good. So if you go to see both these teams, for me, this you can't find anything to separate them. Probably the second tie also might go down to pens if you go to see, and it's gonna be tough to pick a winner from both of them because Bayern Munich have been doing well in the league. Obviously, they've won a few games. Obviously, it's not been easy, but obviously Tuchel's job is to just win them the Bundesliga, right? That's the main thing, and obviously get them as far as he can in the Champions League. For Bayern Munich, this has to, if they draw this game, it's a great result. For Man City, they have to win this game. But I see the Tuchel factor playing a key role. The Tuchel factor will play a key role in whoever wins this game. So for me, Tuchel will be key in this tie because he's done it before. He's going to do it again, probably again for Chelsea, for Bayern Munich this time. And for me, this has to end in a draw. Obviously, key player to watch out for is Joshua Kimmich and Erling Haaland. And the third game, which is which is Real Madrid versus Chelsea. I'm going with a 3-1 win for Real Madrid. Of course, Real Madrid haven't looked the best, but neither have Chelsea. Chelsea have been losing to like literally noob teams like Wolves and all, like who they shouldn't be losing to with all due respect. Because Wolves is not a good team. Okay, Wolves is an average team, and with all due respect, it's an average team at best. It's not an exceptional team. It's an okayish team. So they shouldn't be losing to that team. And on the contrary, yes, Real Madrid have had a few hard weeks. It's not been easy for them as well. Real Madrid have struggled, if you go to see, basically with trying to be as unbiased as possible. Real Madrid has struggled a lot, but in the Champions League, I don't know what's with Real Madrid. They always pull up exceptional performances and somehow always manage to pull up some wins in a way, and that's been key if you go to see. So obviously Real Madrid are going to struggle because what's there without the struggle? But with with all due respect, Real Madrid should be winning this game. I'm not gonna lie. They should be winning this game. They shouldn't lose. If they lose, then I don't know what's going wrong. What's gonna happen to Real Madrid and Ancelotti? Obviously, yes. King Mom with an RMA heart. Obviously, Real Madrid. I'll be backing them. Obviously, they should be at least reaching the semifinals. If they get knocked out, then. But obviously, Copa del Rey is a trophy in the bag. We should be winning that against Osasuna. And yeah, it's gonna be tough to see what happens in the other games because I as a Real Madrid fan, let me ask you these questions. As a Real Madrid fan, who would you like to face? Personally, if I think about it, I would personally prefer to face Bayern Munich because if you're playing Man City, obviously they have somebody like Erling Haaland in their team, and it's been very hard for us to contain players. If you go to see Real Madrid, the games we've lost this season has all been due to great individual players. If you go to see in the Barcelona game which we lost recently in El Clasico, in La Liga, we've lost it because Frank Kessie came and scored a beautiful goal, and it was down to Frank Kessie. If you go to see the Villarreal game, how much was that down to Chapuese because he basically scored a peach. Obviously Vinicius did miss a lot of chances. We got to throw some light on that because if Vinicius didn't miss all those chances, we should have won that game. We should have at least won that game 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 4-3 at at max, and obviously we didn't win that game. So that's another problem. So we've not been consistent, but it's not our fault. Obviously, it has to come down to the manager, and Ancelotti needs to take more responsibility. But yeah, it's been okay for Real Madrid so far. It's been okay. So obviously, with these results, if we go to see like with all the results that I've predicted, obviously I'm then whatever. Obviously, in the first leg, the second leg will be very interesting because the reverse fixture of Real Madrid versus Chelsea will be Chelsea versus Real Madrid, and it'll be at Stamford Bridge. And will Mr. Super Frank, be able to do something? Will he be able to, pull a great result? Will he be able to, do something miraculous? Basically, what he's done as a player, because Chelsea have, obviously, whenever they've won the Champions League, they've always had, some kind of weird love story with the fans. I don't know why it always happens. In 2021 that happened, 2012 that happened. So it's really, really unpredictable. You can't predict what's going to happen with Chelsea. It's that sort of team, as I've said, time and time again. Chelsea, whenever you put their backs against the wall, they always perform in some way. I don't know how, but it happens somehow or another. So that's going to be key if you go to see. And that's what I wanted to say. That's the key things, in all these things. So if you go to see, obviously I can't reveal who I predict to go through, but through one result, two results, let's say. I think two games will be competitive. For me, those two games will be Bayern Munich and Man City, and Benfica and Inter Milan. Those games will be very competitive because both the teams will be looking very, very good. So you can't predict who's going to win, basically. It's going to be very close between both teams. So I'm going to go with that. And if you go to see on the contrary, we have other teams such as Benfica and Inter Milan. They've also been looking quite close. But anything is possible. Anything is possible. Obviously, I'm going with the Napoli win. So I think that Napoli AC Milan game will be very uncompetitive, and Napoli will end up winning that game. So I'm obviously going for a landslide victory, which is very, very uncommon in football these days, but it's very, very likely, as I've said again and again. Um, and obviously the other game, which is Chelsea Real Madrid. I don't see Frank Lampard, doing it. It's all for vibes. If you go to see Chelsea, just want to get good vibes. They just want the team to just perform somehow or another. Because whatever they've tried this season, they've obviously had Tuchel. For some reason, they sacked him. They've obviously had other managers. For some reason, they sacked the other managers as well. So, what do you want to expect from Chelsea? What do you want to expect from them? It's stupid, obviously, from Boli's thing. Obviously, Boli, if you go to see the recent comments that have come out, Boli has taken James Corden's advice, okay, on what he wants to do, and that's stupid. Why would you want to do that? Seriously, why? It makes no sense at all. If you really, really wanted to, have a really fun time, Boli, you could have bought some other team, some lower tier team like Wolves, and then struggle with the fans because Real Madrid are gonna. I'm not lying. Real Madrid are gonna punish this Chelsea team. You saw Liverpool. Liverpool are not. They're not that bad this season. They've drawn with Arsenal. If you go to see last night, and obviously Liverpool are just having a patchy time. So that's the problem. But if you go to see otherwise, there's no reason for Chelsea to win this game. If you go to see, obviously it would be nice. It would be their love story. Maybe Lampard could do it, but realistically, how many of you all actually think that Chelsea would do it? Because I don't think it's gonna happen. Honestly, do you really think it's gonna happen? Do you think Chelsea is gonna beat Real Madrid? It's highly, highly unlikely. The only time Chelsea have beat Real Madrid is when they've actually looked like Chelsea. They've looked like a team which is organized well. And Lampard, we all know that with all due respect, Lampard is a good manager in terms of getting the best out of his players, but tactically, Lampard is not the best manager. There are many managers who are better than him, with all due respect. And that maybe might come to cost Lampard at the end because even though Lampard has been looking good this season, I don't know what to say. This game is unpredictable because maybe let's say hypothetically Chelsea start playing the first 10 minutes they play well, and then after that they suddenly drop off. Then what are you going to do about that? Because that's always been a problem for Chelsea. They've not been consistent, and I think that's going to cost them. Yes, Graham Potter had done a great job against Dortmund, but that's Dortmund, guys. It's not Real Madrid. Real Madrid, is a different beast altogether. Real Madrid perform exceptionally well when it's required. So we got to see what happens, in this game. It's a very interesting game, with all due respect, because nobody knows who's going to win. Anything can happen. Anything is possible, and that's what I'm predicting. Um, Other games. Let me just go to some fun games. I need to touch upon some more games. Obviously, AC Milan. What can I say about them? If AC Milan, let's talk about the other thing. If AC Milan want to win this game, and it all comes down to one player, and that's Zlatan Ibrahimovic, one player. Tamori in defense, another player, and in the midfield, Tonali probably, I guess, because they need control in this game. AC Milan need to control this game exceptionally well. Okay, they can't just hope for the best. They need some luck, of course, if they want to beat Napoli, because Napoli there's some spirit in this Napoli team. You see this with teams where they have that golden generation. Basically, we've seen it with teams like Monaco, AS Monaco in 2017, where they had that beautiful spell. We've seen it with Leipzig in 2020, where they've had they've just won games. Just happened for them. Sometimes you just need that consistency, that run of form, and you go to see these two teams have had that run of form. Okay, AC Milan have had that run of form in the past. Napoli are having it right now, and it's not come at a better time because Napoli are lucky they've got a good draw. With all due respect, Napoli could reach the finals. I'm not lying. Like they could reach the finals, they could even win the Champions League if they have luck in the finals. Because on the other draw, all the big teams will be fighting to push each other out. How many of those teams will actually end up reaching the finals? I look honestly for me, Chelsea have no chance of reaching the finals. Maybe they could reach the semi-finals. That's the best I can see Chelsea doing. Maybe they could reach the semi-finals. शायद से पहुंच सकते हैं, but most likely they won't. They won't reach the finals. But if you go to see the other three teams who probably could face Napoli if Napoli reach the finals, is obviously one team has to be Bayern Munich because they've done it time and time again. Real Madrid and maybe Man City. You can never rule out Man City because sometimes they do something exceptionally well and they could probably reach the finals. You never know. This is football. Football में कुछ भी हो सकता है, as I say. So obviously, anything is possible. Obviously, it's highly likely that it will be a Madrid versus Napoli final. That's what the bookies are saying right now is the favorite. Obviously, Man City are the bookies' favorite. It's obviously hypothetical. That always happens in football. This team with the best players always get back. So, anyways, let's get to some news if we can. Some I don't know Real Madrid news before the game. Let me stop sharing my screen and let's see if we can get something else on the show as well. Let me see some if we can get some interesting news before the game. Let's share my screen and let's see. Obviously, there's some links coming, so I want to just show y'all if y'all and let's see if y'all can give your views on these links. Obviously, so let me see. So obviously, there's been a link recently with Real Madrid. It's recently just come out. Obviously, Madrid Extra is a very good thing. So let me just screen is not come yet. Hold on 1 second. It's not come. 1 second. Just hold on. So till then, let's just speak about Man City. Man City have not been that good, of course. But of course, the screen will come. Um, Man City, can they win the Premier League? That's another question. Possible. How likely though? That depends on whoever whatever you all believe in. Um, Man City have looked okay in the Premier League. They've not had the best Premier League, but Champions League, I don't know. Maybe they've bought Erling Haaland so that they do well in the Champions League. We don't know. Maybe that could be a reason, right? Because they've always been bad in knockout competitions, but great in the league. Man City have won the last five or four Premier Leagues in the last 5 seasons. They won the last four. Because the only other team to win it is obviously Liverpool, and obviously Man City have just edged out. Okay, but anyways, let's just talk about this transfer. So there's a transfer rumor coming out that Danny Olmo could probably go to Real Madrid, which is maybe possible. Never say never in football, but how likely is it that Danny Olmo, okay, player from I don't know which team, does he play currently in Leipzig, I guess, Leipzig or some Red Bull team? I'm sure about that, some Red Bull team for sure. How likely is it that Danny Olmo would move to Real Madrid? It's likely. Obviously, Relivo are reporting it, so I don't know how much to back this because sometimes they do actually give good predictions, but sometimes it's not the best. So you should never say never in football, but Danny Olmo is an okay. It's not that good. Obviously, some players come to Madrid and they actually do well, as we've seen it in the past. But Danny Olmo is an okay player. He's not great, but he's okay. For me, he's an okay player. There are better players out there in the market, but Danny Olmo is an okay player. If you go to see, he's not worst player. He's an okay. Anyways, what else can we speak about? We can probably speak about the situation at Chelsea. Obviously, I want to make a video on that, so that's gonna be interesting. But Chelsea have not had a great season, honestly. They've been really, really underperforming by their huge standards. Okay, Chelsea should, with all due respect, be higher up in the Premier League table. I think they're 10th or something. They lost the last game, so they're not gonna overtake Fulham. I think they're 11th or are they 10th? I don't know, something like that in the Prem. But that's not good. It's not looking good basically for Chelsea. Anyways, so if you go to the other things, oh, there's an interesting thing. Ancelotti. There are many stories about my future. I'm under contract at Real Madrid until June 2024. I'd be happy to respect that contract. My son Davide will not go to FC Basel despite reports. We want to continue here. So that's also interesting. Obviously, some memes are here. Let's see. This meme could be fun. Maybe it could be related to the Champions League. Real Madrid fans this week. Okay, obviously we beat FC Barcelona, and then Wolves beat Barcelona. Sorry, Wolves beat Chelsea, and then Real Madrid beat Villarreal. So obviously, it's not gonna be that easy, and it's not been a fun week as a Real Madrid fan. If you go to see, obviously this doesn't look that promising. If you go to see, obviously, basically we can say Real Madrid are struggling in the league. Obviously, Atletico Madrid are only 2 points behind Real Madrid at the time of this video going out. So we gotta also look below us because we are more closer to the team below us than we are to the team above us, and we should not come lesser than second place, in my opinion. It's basically a formality. It should not happen. We should not go below that. As criticism, it was only this news is man news, not that big. Which is Real Madrid this season in the UCL. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So basically, Real Madrid in the Champions League. We've been exceptional in Champions League and Copa del Rey. But the problem is in La Liga, we've looked like this guy. The guy who wants to have a six pack, but obviously doesn't have a six pack. He's had a belly button. So that's sad to see, obviously, from Real Madrid. I expect much more. We are a team with high standards. We should be doing better. But what can I say? It's the Champions League, guys. Anything is possible. Sometimes, even the worst teams, they end up winning the Champions League. For instance, 2021, Chelsea was not even the best team, but they still won the Champions League. Sometimes the worst teams win the best trophies. Sometimes the worst teams do some miracles. Okay, it happens. This is football, my friend. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You should never rule out. Obviously, sometimes the big teams win. Sometimes the small team win. It's football. Anything is possible, as I said. So, what else can we do? I'll just show you the Champions League predictions again. So, let's get into that again. Obviously, people who are watching this stream live can hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. That helps, obviously, us get to more people. Um, so obviously, this is my prediction. So the AC Milan Napoli game, I'm going for a 3-0 Napoli win. Not gonna be an easy game for AC Milan, in my opinion. Napoli probably should end up winning this game. They're a very, very good team, and they should snatch the victory from AC Milan, as I've said time and time again. And if you go to see the other game, which is obviously Benfica versus Inter Milan, for me, this game could be the unpredictable game. It could be a game in which anybody can win because Benfica are looking okay. But with all due respect, how much is that down to uh, the manager doing a good job? Because the manager has been doing a great job, but Inter Milan, on the contrary, haven't been doing the best. Guys, who was watching, hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. But if you go to see, Inter Milan have not been looking the best. Okay, Lukaku has been okay. He's not been exceptional. He's been fine. Okay, guys, what do you think the result of this game will be? Do you think Benfica's gonna win? Do you think Inter Milan's gonna win that we know? This is the first leg result. It's not the whole tie. So don't think that I'm ruling out Inter Milan to come back in this tie. But in the first leg, when they're playing at home, you always got to back a team. It's basically the fundamental of football. Okay, so anything can happen in this game, but I feel that that one team has to win, and for me, it has to be Benfica because Benfica have been looking good as King Mom comments RMA with the heart. Obviously, Real Madrid. It's a good team. Uh, but if you go to see, anything is possible. This is football nonetheless. So football, anybody. Sometimes the worst team wins, as I've said a time and time again. Okay, the worst team wins, and Benfica are not the best team, but they've been looking quite good this season. Honestly, they can probably even reach the finals if they can get to Napoli. So let's see. Obviously, that's gonna be very interesting. As we go to the next one, which is Man City Bayern 2-2. I'm going with that, and Real Madrid Chelsea. I'm going with a 3-1 win. So that's gonna be interesting. Very interesting. So let's build the lineup in the Champions League. So this is the lineup to watch for. Obviously, I'll stop sharing the screen and share another tab with y'all so y'all can build the team up from scratch. Let's build the team up from scratch. So we have a lot of players in contention, a lot of teams in contention, of course, which can make this lineup. So let me just make the screen a little bit bigger, and that's perfect. Okay, so basically this is the team builder. Okay, so we got to build our team with this team builder. So obviously let's name this the UCL team predicted to do well. This is the UCL team, okay, which I predict, okay, to do well. Or even if you all want, you all can have your comments. Say in the comments, obviously down below. But for that, you all need to comment. Okay, you all can just sit here and just watch the video. You all need to comment down as well. So obviously, let's see who we can put. So obviously, first is the goalie. So in the goalkeeper position, we have a lot of nominees who can probably make this team, guys. You can let me know who you all think should be in the goalkeeping position. Okay, let me know in the comment section who should be the goalkeeper in this UCL team because we are building a UCL team, and I need a proper team which we think will perform well. So then later on, when we come back to the review of the Champions League, we can see which players have performed, which players have under delivered, and which players we think should be in it. Okay, which players at the end who we've slept on and they've eventually come up and they've won. So if we go to see who can I put in goal, obviously we got Kepa from Chelsea, we got Courtois from Real Madrid, we got obviously Sommer from Bayern, we got Edison from Man City, we got I think Onana from Inter Milan, we got Napoli's goalkeeper, I forgot the name, we got AC Milan's goalkeeper as well, Mike Magnon, we got many other goalkeepers, and Benfica's goalkeeper is a very good shout. Okay, Benfica goalkeeper is also a good shout, but you got to think who's not going to concede a lot of goals, who's going to have a good performance. Okay, and with all due respect, okay, I think probably Madrid will concede. Bayern Munich, Man City. I don't think you can go for any of those two goalkeepers because that's really tough. So we probably got to go with one guy. Okay, who can deliver stellar performance? Courtois is just one option, but he's probably going to concede against Chelsea with all due respect. So who do you think can be that player? Who can be that player who can actually do well? That's the question. So obviously, I think probably we gotta go with none other than the Napoli goalkeeper because I think he's not gonna consider a lot. Merit has been very good this season. He can probably pull up a good performance. Okay, he can probably just come and goalkeeper and probably they'll win. So I expected Napoli to perform well. So I think with all due respect, the goalkeeper in this 11 should be Mr. Merit from Napoli. Okay. Okay, now if you go to the right back, I think who's gonna perform? Okay, if I see for Chelsea, the key player it has to be Reece James. If I go to see other teams, who's there? We got Carval for Real Madrid, but how good is he gonna be? Of course, Nacho was good last time we played Liverpool, but will Nacho play in the right back position? That's another question. We got other players such as I think Pavard from Bayern. We got Kyle Walker from Man City. We got other players from Inter. Inter, we have underrated players, of course, like Dumfries. We got other players like who plays for. We got players like Di Lorenzo. But I think this is between these James D and Di Lorenzo because these two can any one of them can win it. So I'm going to go with Di Lorenzo from Napoli. If you go to see the centre back position, I think one player is going to have a very, very good game, and that player is going to be from none other than, obviously, for me, I think the player who's going to have a very, very good outing is going to come from none other than Benfica, and I think it's going to be Otamendi. I think Otamendi is going to have a good performance against Inter Milan. So I think if you want to put somebody here in the 11, it's got to be Otamendi. And if you go for an other centre back who I think could perform well, I think with all due respect, we got to go with John Stones because John Stones has been very consistent for Man City. So Stones has to be in this 11. If you get to the left back, okay, I think if you go to see the left backs, there's obviously Mario Rui from Napoli, which I think he could have a great performance. Chelsea have Ben Chilwell, but I got to go with Ben Chilwell because I think he could be one of those players for Chelsea who actually stand out. So let's get to the midfield, and in the midfield, I think there's one player who will perform well, and that is Joshua Kimmich. Bayern Munich will have a lot of the ball, and I think Kimmich will be very key in that. And if you go for the other DM, I think it's going to be probably Modric. I think Modric is going to have a good outing. Number 10, I think I have to go with Kavara Donna. I feel Kavara Scalia will have a great game, and he's probably going to score a goal. On the right wing, I think we got to put a player who can score a goal. And if you go to see who can score a goal? I don't think Chelsea, any player is going to be that instrumental. Obviously, Joao Felix could be a good shout, but I don't think he's going to score. So maybe a Benfica player, maybe a Madrid player. Okay. We'll come to the right wing. We'll go to the left wing. I think left wing has to go to Vinicius Junior. I think the striker. Okay, this is also an interesting debate. For me, in the striker position, guys, you can let me know who should be in the striking position for this starting 11 because this is the Champions League starting 11 who you think is going to perform well. This thing. So let me know in the comment section if you all are watching right now. It's got to be between Osimhen, Benzema, and obviously Erling Haaland because these three strikers have been exceptional in the Champions League. All three of them have performed well. So any one of them could probably make the 11. But I think among all three of them, I think Erling Haaland will score. I think even though it's against Bayern Munich, I think Erling Haaland will score. He's done it before in the past when he was at Dortmund. So for me, Erling Haaland will score. And who can score from Benfica on the right wing, man? Who's the Benfica right winger? I think he's going to have a great outing. Benfica right winger. Obviously, there are many, many good players from Benfica who can score because obviously Benfica did lose their last game against Porto, which is not good. Them obviously Mediterranean played well. Obviously, we got Gonzalo Ramos as well, so we can probably toss him on the right because Gonzalo Ramos is a very flexible player. So we put Gonzalo Gonzalo Ramos on the right. So guys, this is the 11 which I think is going to perform well. Let's see when we come back how many of them actually perform well. I think Merit will be good in goal. I think Di Lorenzo for Napoli will play well. Otamendi for Benfica. John Stones for Man City. Chilwell for Chelsea. Modric for Real Madrid will play well in the middle of the park. Kimmich will have a great outing. Vinicius Junior will have a good outing for Real Madrid. Kvaratskhelia will carry Napoli to another victory. Gonzalo Ramos will probably be key in that Benfica Inter Milan game. And Erling Haaland will score probably a goal for Man City versus Bayern Munich. So guys, that's all I wanted to speak about. Obviously, the Champions League predictions are done. That was the key thing which I wanted to do in this stream. So guys, if you're watching the live stream on repeat, then hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, share this video with your friends, and bye.